welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune chairs a meeting of the Council of Ministers, a meeting the gist of which is to be unveiled in our news. Tisimsilt province benefits from an urgent development program with several projects meant to improve the living conditions of isolated regions. The film Wani Beek, directed by Rabah Slimani, receives the 2022 Social Justice Award in Spain following its participation in the Cinematographic Festival of Zaragoza. And Morocco is jolted once more by fresh protest movements to denounce the harsh living conditions and normalization. And an amazing concert performed by the great artist Lounes 8 Mengelet in France, an opportunity to pay tribute to the late artists Idir and Slimane Hazmi. Good evening, those were today's top story. The starting point of today's edition is with the Council of Ministers meeting chaired by the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune, a meeting devoted to two presentations relating to the program for the development of Tisimsilt province as well as the roadmap for the development of air and maritime transportation. Melissa Kubash tells us more.
Following the opening of the meeting by the President of the Republic and the presentation of the government activities for the past 2 weeks by the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, the President of the Republic gave the following guidelines concerning the complementary development program of Tisimsilt province. After the approval of the Council of Ministers, the President of the Republic instructed the government to hold the meeting next Wednesday in the province of Tisimsilt, with the immediate execution of the program taking into consideration the acceleration of works of the railway line linking Tisimsilt to Bourzoul and the rehabilitation of roads linking Tisimsilt to other provinces, the validation of the duplication project of the National Road 14 linking Tisimsilt and Khmis Miliana with the province of Ain Dafla over a distance of 84 kilometers and the rehabilitation of its section. The support of the housing program of the province according to the province's characteristics while allocating adequate lands in coordination with the forced services, which will allow families to go back to artisanal professions known in the region. As for the roadmap of the national fleet's development of maritime and air transportation of goods, the President instructed the immediate opening of an investigation to hold all those responsible for the deterioration of this strategic sector, merge the two national companies, Canal Med and Canal Nord, specialized in maritime transportation, into one company, review the structure and policy of maritime transportation of goods at all levels so as to restore it and present the new management strategy project in the upcoming months. Work by all means for a technical regulation for Algerian ships in all international ports through cooperation between Algeria's ambassadors in countries concerned and the heads of the transportation sector. Pave the way for Algerian expertise specialized in the maritime sector, notably qualified youth and the most experimented in this field, so as to create specialized enterprises in the repair of ships and boats. Concerning the air transportation, the President instructed the review of the management methods of Air Algérie by following a modern plan in line with the international standards, the boosting of air navigation in different airports of the country as a strategic structure capable of relaunching this activity. The completion of the acquisition operation of aircrafts as soon as possible within the framework of the renewal of the National Air Fleet. The next Council of Ministers will decide on this file. As for general guidelines, the President of the Republic insisted on the necessity to continue the reform in the local government sector according to a global and profound vision in line with the presidential program, especially that the judicial system governor is not coping with the major changes the country is experiencing. Prepare efficient and modern proposals concerning the communal and provincial code, being constitutional institutions able to deal with local and territorial authorities, taking into account the characteristics of each municipality in terms of potentialities and sources of income.
In a related topic, Tisimsil province benefited from an urgent development program, the aim of which is to open up some regions to the neighboring ones, as it is the case of Bunama locality, where many inhabitants were connected to the natural gas network in Eskilo.
High school students in Beni Shaib commune, more precisely in Tisimsil province, used to travel more than 30 kilometers each morning to reach their school. Today, the situation has changed since the rehabilitation of the commune's high school has just been completed.
Our children used to walk for more than 30 kilometers away to study, while the road is dangerous, but now the situation has been changed for the better.
Another important project is the achievement of 114 housing units. The Sidi Sliman and Beni Lihsan localities have also benefited from several projects, such as the reopening of school canteens, the construction of local stadium, and the rehabilitation of several roads.
We are very happy to train in this stadium.
The commune of Burj Bunama is also concerned by this dynamic process. Several households in Bilkanun hamlet have been connected to the natural gas network.
We used to travel 4 kilometers to go and buy the gas bottles. Now we are relieved. I would like to thank the authorities.
النسبة التقوية نتاع الغاز هي 93.07.
The rate of gas connection has reached 93.7%. 69,615 households have been connected to the natural gas network. The others will be connected as soon as possible.
رايحين نطرقوا لها في برنامج البي سي دي Programme Complément de Développement نتاع سيدي الرئيس.
Other development projects are programmed in the different communes of the province of Tisimsilt. They will be delivered within the framework of the complementary project plan of the province.
In a different context, Algeria is expected to reach $7 billion in non-hydrocarbon exports. In order to reach this goal, the local products are to be upgraded by the authorities in charge of this file. More insights with Najah Diyar.
And destined for export, a priority in the government's strategy to ensure commercial opportunities for the diversification of the incomes out of hydrocarbon sector. Several cargo companies are equipped with new installations of international standards, as well as facilitations that are undertaken to encourage the economic operators to export their goods. Every year we have an increase in volume of exports in line with the orientations of the public authorities, and we follow with the corresponding logistics, so we provide the client with all the necessary measures for speed up the process and ensure smooth flow of merchandise. Today, the economic operators stress the importance of the supply chain in the movement of goods. A lot of efforts are made for this matter. By land, air or sea, several companies have been ensuring the goods transport for years to numerous African, Arab and even Asian countries, especially with the decrease of the shipping fees of around 50% for the operators who reserve their products for export. We have a subsidiary that ensures the truck transport everywhere in Africa and the Arab Maghreb. We also ensure the sea transport over the Mediterranean basin and also Asia and Middle East. Given the government's policy of export encouragement, especially towards Africa, our group directs and accompanies the Algerian exports in this matter. Algeria intends to develop the land and sea transport means, in particular through the rail transport networks, and also ensuring a logistic platform of assets that could contribute to the promotion and diversification of exports.
The parliamentary diplomacy was at the heart of the national meeting of the France-Algeria Association, an important topic that will undoubtedly help involve both societies in the creation of beneficial projects between the two countries. Najah Tayyar once again.
Transcending the traditional areas of cooperation and exchanges that have framed its actions since its creation is the ambition voiced by the France-Algeria Association on the occasion of its national meeting. The idea gives new dynamics to meet the citizens' aspirations and would make it one of the economic factors who would facilitate the creation of projects. We carry economic projects and we defend the idea of Algerian companies investing in France and French companies investing in Algeria. We want to make a permanent exchanging point and investment link so that the two countries are not only governments who discuss together, but companies of both countries work together. I explained to our French and double nationality friends what is the dynamic of the new Algeria and what is expected as contribution from the association that is welcomed to work hand in hand with Algerians and in Algeria. The question of immigration and economy and agriculture is the business of both governments to manage together. Our goal as Friendship Group is to renew the relations of economy and culture exchanges. On this occasion, the association aims to step up the initiatives through the mobilization of both diasporas in the service of programs that will meet the new generation's expectations.
In another story, the film Wenny Beek, directed by Rabah Slimani, received the 2022 Social Justice Award in Spain following its participation in the Cinematographic Festival of Zaragoza. Each year, the Spanish Academy for Cinema awards the different cinematographic works that support the fair causes and the oppressed peoples. It is worth recalling that Wenny Beek was produced by the Miroir Prod in partnership with the Algerian National Public Television. Abroad, the military operations continue along the Wall of Shame in Western Sahara. Units of the Sahrawi Liberation Army carried out new attacks against the headquarters of the 56th Regiment of the Moroccan Occupation Forces in Al Mahbas sector. In a related context, the Makhzen regime is fully involved in the apartheid policy of the Zionist entity, despite being rejected by the population, as the regular demonstrations to denounce normalization in which the Moroccan authorities are engaged continue. Story by Ines Gillo.
The struggle is getting tougher, and the Moroccans are not giving up to defeat the normalization with the Zionist entity. Around this table, members of the Moroccan associations and organizations met on the eve of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people to renew their rejection of normalization with the Zionist entity and call once again for a stronger mobilization throughout the country.
بمناسبة اليوم العالمي للتنمر الفلسطيني وفي سياق الهجمة التطبيعية الشرسة والتي كان أوجها تقريبا هذه 3 أيام الماضية بالتصويت في البرلمان على
On the occasion of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people and in the context of normalization with the Zionist entity, which received great support from Parliament, we joined this conference in quest of ways to face up the Zionist penetration of the Moroccan university, which is very dangerous because it aims to change the Moroccan identity.
عبر إلحاق الجامعة بالأجندة الصهيونية المباشرة.
الكيان الصهيوني سوف يحاول أن يضع اليد على أهم البحوث العلمية.
The Zionist entity will try to control the most important scientific research, especially in the strategic and security fields.
أن الكيان الصهيوني الذين يريدون أن يتعاونوا معه اليوم في الجامعة هو الكيان الذي قام بتصفية المئات بل الآلاف من العلماء والباحثين العرب والمسلمين.
Social protests are increasingly present and dangerous in Morocco, a situation that has persisted for several years now, and the Makhzen regime continue to ignore the demands of its people. After the demonstrations of doctors, lawyers and teachers, it is now the women's turn to voice their anger and refusal of the Makhzen regime. They demand, for the umpteenth time, the departure of this wooden system.
Doctors, lawyers and teachers took the streets again and again, and now everyone is called upon to take the streets and denounce this corrupt system. I call on all demonstrators to demonstrate on December 4th. We call once again for a strong mobilization throughout the country.
Moroccans plunged in a complete chaos and extreme poverty are going through the worst crisis in their history. People continue to condemn the soaring prices of food and fuel. The only way to fight is to take to the streets and express their rejection of the Makhzen's repressive policy.
To sports now, and the FIFA World Cup 2022 being held in Qatar. Costa Rica stunned Japan with 1-0, while the big game between Germany and Spain ended in a 1-1 draw, and Croatia revived its hopes of reaching the next round by trouncing Canada with 4-1. And we bring down the curtains of our news with these celestial musical notes performed by one of Algeria's great singers, namely Lounas Ait Mengelat, who enchanted his fans in Bercy in France with a series of his hits, paying tribute, by the way, to the late Idir and even Slimane Azem. Enjoy and goodbye.